Hey guys, welcome to my channel Miss Recap. Deep inside an endless desert, past the lands where no one can ever enter, lies a mirage that hides a phantom castle. The phantom castle is the home of the evil sorcerer called Kezabur. Kezabur normally sends his terrifying dragon out to steal unmarried beautiful princesses and take them to his palace, and no single warrior has been able to find the castle till this very day, and save the kidnapped princesses. Just as the king ended the story to his daughter called Princess Mina, she tells her father that the dragon is going to regret it if it tries to take her too, making her father laugh out loud. Few years later, Princess Mina is all grown up, and even with her status, she still greets and pays her respect to every guard she sees. She has a very close friend called Ronan. They grew up together, and it appears that they both like each other. We find out that suitors have been coming all over the world recently to ask her hand in marriage, but Mina tells Ronan that those suitors are not for her, but for her dad. Her dad, the king, doesn't believe a woman can rule the kingdom instead. He wants to marry her off to the first guy who fits his idea of a warrior. Ronan asks her what she really wants for herself, and she replies that she wants to lead the kingdom and be with the man she loves. Just as Mina watches the duck in the river, Ronan kneels to ask her hand in marriage, and the shock makes her to fall into the river. The princess happily agrees to marry him. Meanwhile at a bar, some of the suitors who came to seek the princess' hand in marriage chills at a bar. One of them is called Rogdai. The guy is so strong and very skillful when it comes to using his axe. Second suitor is a rich Arab king called Kabir. He wants to marry the princess because his kingdom is in the top 10, but when he marries the princess, his kingdom will easily move up to top 3. And third is a fat Chinese prince called Fa Chan. He's just a mummy boy, who does anything his mother says. The suitor sees Mina with a guy and goes to confront him. Rogdai tells the princess that he will soon be her husband and wants her to stop hanging out with Ronan, but the princess states out that she's not interested in marrying any of them, and Ronan supports, saying he has no right to tell the princess what to do. This made Rogdai angry and confront Ronan, saying Mina's father will choose her destiny, and warns him on how he opens his mouth because he has never held a sword, but Ronan replies that the strongest muscle in the body is the brain if you know how to flex it. Rogdai angrily tries to strike him, but the princess stops him, and threatens to report to her dad, making them to walk away. Princess Mina immediately rides her horse inside the palace to see her father. Her dad tells her about the suitors' mothers who just met him to ask her hand in marriage. Mina is angry because her opinion is supposed to be more important on this matter, and asks if some outdated custom is more important than her happiness. She appeals to her father to let her marry Ronan. The king knows Ronan is a good and clever young man, but he is no warrior. If any trouble comes, he won't be able to protect her or the kingdom. But the princess believes a clever ruler is better than a strong one. The king proves to love his daughter so much as he decided to give Ronan and her his blessing, making Mina to hug him in happiness. Later that evening, the whole villagers are gathered, as well as the suitors, as the king is about to announce the princess' husband-to-be. Just as the princess gets ready, a dragon suddenly comes out from nowhere and confronts the princess. The dragon kidnaps the princess. Ronan tries his best to stop the dragon, but he is thrown to the ground like nothing. The king knows it was Kezabur the sorcerer who is responsible for the princess kidnap, and tells the crowd that whoever rescues Mina from Kezabur will have her hand in marriage in his kingdom. All the suitors volunteers to go rescue Nina. Ronan asks the king about his marriage with her, but he replied that he made a mistake because the princess needs a hero and not a thinker. After thinking for a while, Ronan decided to join the expedition to look for the princess. He opens his box and puts on his amour, and then takes his bow. Through the map, he discovered the dragon flew to the east and decides to go there. The suitor sees Ronan passing the impassable forest. Rogdai decided to go kill him, knowing it's the princess he is going to find. Princess Mina wakes up in the castle of Kezabur, which appears to be on top of a really high mountain. She explores around the place to see golden statues of girls everywhere. The dragon that kidnapped Mina transforms to an old woman and greets Mina. Only few princesses have ever had the privilege of entering the walls of the castle, and none of them ever came back. But the old woman tells her this castle is not horror but fun. Kezabur is bored and is looking for a friend, and Princess Mina is the special young lady he has chosen. The dragon tells Mina to try and keep Kezabur interested and engaged, and her future here will be paradise. But if she ends up disappointing her lord, she will join the other princesses who foolishly stood up to Kezabur, and were turned into golden statues. Inside the castle, we see servants monsters brushing Kezabur's long beards. Some servants brought him clothes, but he orders them to throw them away because he has already worn them before. He needs a completely new wardrobe to look sharp and stylish for his latest girlfriend. The dragon shapeshifter Nahina shows up in Kezabur's presence to inform him that she has brought Princess Mina just as he ordered. Kezabur is impressed and decided to reward her by finally telling her where the wizard Finn is in hiding. On the other hand, during his journey to rescue the princess, Ronan sees a gigantic snake trying to swallow a bear family. He tries to help the bears out, but he doesn't even know how to string an arrow, and his attack has zero impact. Ronan quickly thinks of what snakes are afraid of, and a snake charmer gets to his mind. He quickly uses a specific plant to make a flute, which he uses to charm the snake to the river, and it carries it far away. To Ronan's surprise, the bears can actually talk. One of them thanks Ronan for saving him and his family, and because of that, he will from now be at his debts and at his service. Ronan tells the bear about his mission, and the bear reveals to know Kezaber because the snake that attacked him and his family works for Kezaber. He normally sends the snake out to hunt for rare animals, so he can use their skins to make fabric for his new outfits. He doesn't know how to find Kezaber, but he tells Ronan that he can take him to a kind wizard named Finn, who lives in this forest and might know how to find Kezaber. He hops on the bear back as he is taken to the wizard. Bjorn the bear finally takes Ronan to Finn the wizard, who agrees to help Ronan, admitting everything was his fault too. The dragon that serves Kezaber is a witch named Nahina. Many years ago, Finn has been planning how to win her love and even studied magic for 2 years to become worthy of her, but any time he imagined approaching Nahina, he thinks she might reject him. Not wanting to face the possibility of her rejecting him for real, he cast a spell that would guarantee she would fall in love when she sees him, but he mistakenly made the magic too strong, and Nahina became crazy about him. Before he could reverse his magic, Kezaber went to Nahina and told her what he has done to her. In her rage, his love spell turned dark and twisted. And ever since, Nahina has been taking her revenge not only against him, but against those who are happily in love. Ronan wishes to know what might be happening to Mina right now, and Finn uses his magic to show him in the river. He sees Kezaber trying to impress Mina with gold and foods. As he tries to kiss Mina, she hits his head with a tray pan. Ronan asks where Kezaber Castle is located, and how he can get there. Finn tells him that no male mortal stands a chance against a sorcerer like Kezaber. He suggests Ronan should stay with him as his apprentice, and he will teach him all the magic he knows, and then might be able to defeat Kezaber, but that will take 20 years to achieve. Ronan demands for a faster way. Finn agrees there is one, but it's a suicide mission. Finn tells him to go as far as he can to the east, until he reaches the sandy mountains, but the entrance is guarded by a giant head. If he can get past the giant head, he will be able to gain entry to Kezaber's kingdom. Without wasting much time, Ronan begins his journey. After a while, Nahina locates Finn and captures him. Ronan tries to rescue him, but Rogdai attacks him with his axe. Rogdai chases after him until they got to a dead end. Ronan had no choice but to fight Rogdai to defend himself. Bjorn the bear tries to defend Ronan, but he is taken down easily. Ronan is able to exchange blows with Rogdai, who almost ended up falling from the cliff, but Ronan saves him. While dragging him up, Rogdai tries to use the opportunity to kill him, but he ends up falling off the mountain. Nahina takes Finn to Kezaber Castle and begs Kezaber to lock him up in one of his cells. Kezaber asks Nahina why the girl he brought to him behaves like a barbarian, but she was like, that's how modern princesses behaves. At the room where Princess Mina is locked up, she ties some clothings together, so she can use it as a rope to escape the castle through the window. She sees Kezaber hat on the floor, and as she wears it, she realizes it's an invisibility hat. She decided to use it to her advantage. When Kezaber guards enters a room with a cage to try and bring her to Kezaber, she uses the invincibility to deceive them, and locks them inside the cage. Kezaber orders all his men to look for her or they will all pay with their lives. She ties Kezaber long beards to a pillar and reveals herself to him, threatening he should let her go along with the other princesses he captured. Kezaber tries to catch her, but she wears the invincibility hat again, and his beards tied to a pillar makes him fall off his castle. Mina also uses the invincibility to remove the green ring from Nahina's finger, which she can use to free all the princesses. She uses the ring to break the spell of the princesses, making them normal again, and leads them to the window where they can escape. Just after that, Nahina shows up and stops Mina from escaping. Ronan sees Fa Chan in the forest being hunted by a creature and rescues him. He asked Fa Chan to go home since he is scared of the journey, but Fa Chan prefers to face the dangerous journey than to go back home to his mom empty-handed. He is going in search of the princess because his mummy told him to, and doesn't want to anger her by not returning without her. After a long journey, they finally reach the desert that leads to Kezaber Kingdom, but the entrance of the desert is blocked by a sleeping giant head. Ronan tries to make the giant to get out of their way so they can pass, but this pisses the giant off. Ronan sees thousands of soldiers who have died from facing the giant, and just as they were about giving up, Ronan sees shells on the floor and realizes that this sands isn't a desert, but a riverbed. There used to be water here, so Ronan believes if they bring the water back, they might appease the giant head to allow them to pass. Ronan goes to a dam that is blocking the river from flowing, and has turned the valley into lifeless dust. Ronan, Fa-chan, and Bjorn the bear build a catapult, which they use to break the dam, making the river to flow again. Just as the water touches the giant head, he comes out with water hands and legs. The giant tells Ronan that he saved him because water is his home. His malicious brother Kezaber imprisoned him here and cut off the water supply, knowing his powers comes from it. In gratitude for saving him, the giant rewarded Ronan with a magic sword. It holds great power and will help him defeat Kezaber. Kezaber has a long beard and it contains his magic powers. If he uses the sword to chop off his beards, he will defeat Kezaber and save his fiancée. As a sign of his gratitude, the giant uses his magic to transport Ronan and his crew to Kezaber's palace. Mina, on the other hand, is still trying to escape the castle. She sees Finn in a cell who begs her to bring him some water. After doing so, Finn informed her that her lover Ronan is on his way to find her, but Mina becomes more concerned for Ronan because he has never used a sword. She sees Ronan and rushes to hug him, but that turns out to be Kezaber in disguise. He captures Mina, and just as he orders his men to put her in a cage, the real Ronan shows up. An epic battle begins as Fa-chan and the bear shows up to help Ronan to fight the guards. Ronan fights with Kezaber. He carries Ronan really high to the sky but gets really exhausted. He tells Ronan that he has won, and takes him back to the castle so he can take Mina and go. Ronan and the princess finally reunite, but Kezaber uses the distraction to his advantage. Nahina shows up and uses her ring to put Mina to sleep. Kezaber tries to stab Ronan but he dodges it, and uses the sword to cut his beards, turning Kezaber to a golden statue. But things are not okay because Mina has been enchanted to sleep forever by Nahina. Ronan begs Finn to break the spell, but he tells him he can't. This is Nahina's doing and he's powerless here. Finn sees the invincibility hat on the floor, and tells Ronan that there is hope. He goes to find Nahina and tells Ronan to take her home and she will be awake by then. While they camp for the night, Nahina shows up and make them all to fall asleep. She uses her enchantment magic on Fa-chan, and tells him to take Ronan's sword and stab him on the chest. Fa-chan is able to resist her powers, but then, Rogdai comes out from nowhere, and stabs the sleeping Ronan, and then carries the princess back to the kingdom. He takes Mina to her father and informs him that Mina is enchanted, but the joy of wedding with her can possibly break the spell. The king decided to let Rogdai marry his daughter. On the other hand, Nahina meets with the stabbed Ronan and smiles, saying love has destroyed him, but that person is actually not Ronan, but Finn. He used the invincibility hat to hide Ronan. Finn begs Nahina for forgiveness and tells her that after he dies, the spell on her will be broken. Nahina's hatred for Finn suddenly goes away, and decided to help Finn by giving Ronan the ring to reverse the enchanted spell on Mina. Just as the king is about to pass the kingdom to Rogdai for bringing back the princess, Fa-chan shows up and exposed everything. It was actually Ronan who saved the princess, but Rogdai stabbed him in his sleep. Just as the king is confused as he didn't know who to believe, Ronan suddenly shows up and reveals the truth. He brings out the ring and breaks the enchanted spell on Mina. Mina knocks out Rogdai from behind, and they all reunited with each other as the whole kingdom celebrate. The king decided to give his blessing to Ronan and Mina, while Rogdai is arrested and taken to prison. Some guests shows up at the palace. They are the princesses Mina saved. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notification so you can watch more videos like this.